Hey guys, on today's episode, I'm going to share with you 4 simple practices and apps that I use every day to improve my productivity. I've tried lots of different productivity strategies over the years, and these are the ones that have stuck. All right, let's get into it. Money isn't the point. A business should be about lifestyle, impact, and meaning. And you can still earn a ridiculous amount of money without sacrificing any of that. But you need to set your priorities. And that, to me, is what a lifestyle business is all about. Welcome back to Lifestyle Business Weekly. I'm Corbett Barr, and today I'm going to share with you 4 productivity practices and apps that I use every day to make my time more efficient and focused. I've tried lots of different productivity strategies over the years. Some work and some don't. Others tend to wear out over time, and some simply need to be adapted to work for you. The important thing is that you're constantly on the lookout for ways to make your time more effective. The first strategy I want to share with you is simple. At the beginning of each week and each day, I simply plan out what I want to accomplish. This is simple task planning 101 with a couple of twists. First, I start each Monday by looking at the week ahead. Take a look at your calendars and task lists and see what it is that you plan to accomplish in the coming week. For task management, I use a tool called Asana. If you're on a team, Asana is really great because it has a bunch of features that makes it work really well for teams. If you're working just on your own, then you can use pretty much any sort of task management tool that you really like. We also use another tool called Trello to help us track our pipeline of projects. Trello is a different kind of tool from Asana because it provides a better big picture view. Trello isn't meant to track tasks, just projects on a bigger scale. A lot of companies use Trello for product roadmaps because you can easily add your projects to different buckets like ideas and upcoming and in progress and things that you've already completed. So use whatever project, calendar, and task systems you like to take a look at the week ahead and plan what it is you are going to get done during that week. Then within your task tool, organize things so that you don't see all of the tasks on your list, just the ones that you plan to get done today and this week. Asana actually has a couple of sections that they call today and upcoming, and I use those to show what I'm going to work on just on this day, and then the upcoming section is what I plan to tackle for the rest of the week. Then for each day as the week progresses, I simply look at the upcoming list and pull those tasks up to today for the things that I plan to get done. This kind of task planning probably sounds really simple, and it is, but it's also incredibly effective. In fact, I still catch myself sometimes jumping right into the day without doing this simple task planning. And a lot of times those days turn into this endless or mindless form of research and other things that aren't really all that useful because I'm not being as conscious as I should about what it is I want to spend my time on. So each day after I'm done planning, the next most important step is to tackle the top task of the day, the most important task that you want to get done for the day, because then even if the rest of your day starts to sort of collapse later, at least you got one really important thing done. So this tip is really pretty simple. Start each week by looking at what you want to accomplish in the coming week, and start each day by looking at what you want to accomplish this day. Use a tool like Asana and Trello to help you keep track of the projects and tasks that you're planning to work on. But when it comes time to actually do the work this week, forget about all that stuff and save the big picture planning for just once a week and just focus on the tasks that you committed to getting done. Next up is a technique that I actually learned from a very special episode of the Fizzle Show earlier this year. The technique is known as productivity journaling, and one Harvard study shows that it can actually increase productivity by 22%. The idea of productivity journaling is simply to reflect on how your day went at the end of each day. So to finish each day, I sit down and think about what went well, what didn't go well, how the day compared to how I thought it might go. And the practice isn't necessarily rigid. It can be fairly casual, and you just jot down how you thought the day went. You could do this daily reflection in a notebook or your favorite text tool. I use something called Day One, which is an app for Mac and iOS that makes it incredibly easy just to hit a button, start writing something, and it organizes it day by day so that you can look back at a calendar and see how well you are doing at keeping a journal for each day. Then, in addition to the daily journaling, at the end of each week, I take a look back at the week as it unfolded, the tasks that I had planned to work on, and which ones I actually got done. And we actually do this as a team. For the Fizzle team, we actually do a checkout process before we leave for the weekend. Each of us writes down how we thought our week went, what we accomplished, and we send that to everybody else so that we can kind of see what everybody was able to do for the week. I really can't stress how simple and effective this technique is. It really only needs to take you 5 minutes a day. And you might be surprised if you haven't done this sort of thing before at just how much perspective it gives you on what you were able to accomplish and how much confidence it gives you in your ability to at least get a few major things done each day. For more on productivity journaling, including how a couple of experts at productivity use this technique, check out the Fizzle Show episode that I mentioned before. Just go to fizzleshow.co/99. That is, it was the Fizzle Show episode 99, which aired earlier this year, fizzleshow.co/99. Next, I want to talk about a relatively new technique that I've been using, but the technique itself isn't new. It's just my usage of it is. The technique is known as the Pomodoro Technique, and this is a system that was invented in the 1980s, which helps you break your day into small, manageable chunks with a lot of breaks in between. It's based on this idea that we need to take frequent breaks to sort of replenish ourselves, and that we work best in small, defined chunks. For the official usage of this technique, there are 5 basic steps. First, you decide on the task that you're going to work on. Second, you set a timer for a Pomodoro amount, which is supposed to be 25 minutes. Then you work on that task for the 25 minutes. After the timer rings, you take a 5-minute break. And finally, after 4 of those consecutive 25 minutes plus a 5-minute break periods, then you take a longer break of 15 or 20 minutes. So what I find useful about this technique is really just being intentional about the specific task that I'm working on and setting a timer to give my work on that task a sense of urgency. I don't adhere to the strict 25-minute and 5-minute break thing that the official Pomodoro technique defines. I actually tend to use 45-minute periods with a 10-minute break in between. There isn't a whole lot of science behind the original technique, so I think it's actually fine for you to take it and adapt it to make it your own. To help with timing this, you could simply use a timer on your phone. I use an app called Pomodoro Time. There's a free version that works on the Mac, which helps you just set a timer and define specifically what task it is that you're working on. Again, I find the usefulness of this technique simply in being intentional about which specific task I'm working on so that I don't forget and wander off, and setting a timer so that I create this sense of urgency around the task that I'm working on. For more on the origins and usage of the Pomodoro technique, check out this article on Lifehacker, which is a primer to the Pomodoro technique, Productivity 101 they call it. Just go to fzzl.co/Pomodoro, fzzl.co/Pomodoro. And finally today, let's talk about something that sucks a lot of people's time, and that is email. Email can be so time-consuming, especially if you make the mistake of using it as a task list. I used to do this sort of unconsciously. I would read most of my email, and then I would leave the things in there that I needed to take action on. And then every once in a while when I was working on a task, I would have to go back to my inbox to take a look at that and figure out exactly what the request was. And when you do that, then of course you get distracted by the list of new messages that have popped up. And you find yourself in this constant battle of going into your inbox and forgetting what it was that you were working on and then having to restart. To break this cycle, the key is to eliminate your need to go into your inbox in order to complete a task and to check email less frequently overall. To stay out of my inbox, I use a modified inbox zero approach. This is an approach that was pioneered by Merlin Mann almost a decade ago. The basic idea is to quickly triage your inbox by taking action on every single one of the messages in there instead of leaving them there and treating your inbox like a task list. Merlin Mann says there are 5 actions that you can take on each email. Those are delete, defer, delegate, respond, and do. Then when you process your inbox, anything that can be taken care of with a quick delete, delegate, respond, or action, you should take care of right away. But if something is going to take more than a few minutes, then you should opt for the deferral option. To handle this deferral, I rely again on my task management application that I mentioned before, Asana. Asana actually lets you forward messages that will become tasks in your task list. You just send your email to x@mail.asana.com, and then it'll show up in your task list, which then allows you to archive that message out of your inbox. Then to make things even faster, I use a email tool called MailBox, which I really like right now. There's a MailBox app for the Mac and iOS, and MailBox is nice because there are some really quick swipe actions that you can take to archive messages instead of having to click on each one like you might within Gmail. I know that actually I've seen Gmail start to adopt this as well. It's just a really nice way to swipe and quickly get rid of messages that you don't have to take any other action on than archive. Okay, to sum it up, here are the 4 productivity hacks that I use every day along with the applications that support them. First, I do weekly and daily planning using both Asana for task management and Trello for project management. Then I do daily productivity journaling, which really just means reflecting on how the day went at the end of each day. And for that, I use a productivity journal tool called Day One. Next, for tackling specific tasks throughout the day and keeping those to an urgent sort of sense of time, I use the Pomodoro Technique, and there's an app for the Mac called Pomodoro Time that will support you. And finally, to handle my inbox, I use rapid inbox triaging, or a modified form of inbox zero. And to do that, I use Asana, which allows me to forward my tasks from my inbox to my task list, and an email tool called MailBox, which helps me make more efficient use of the time that I am in my inbox. All right, that's it for this episode. I hope that some of these productivity hacks are useful to you. Try one out and let me know how it goes. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Get all of today's links and many more articles and resources for lifestyle business builders just like you in one convenient, curated weekly email. Head over to lifestylebusinessweekly.com and sign up for free. I'll send you one email a week, including a link to the latest episode of this show, new blog posts from me, and resources that will help you make more progress towards building a business that matters. That's lifestylebusinessweekly.com.